There comes a moment in every believer's life when the quiet storm of righteousness meets the loud noise of misunderstanding. You have done no wrong, yet the room burns with accusation. The air becomes thick, not with truth, but with tension. You wonder how something as simple as being faithful, being kind, being chosen to walk in light, could cause such a violent reaction in those around you. Their words sting, their anger erupts, and their eyes carry the weight of betrayal. It feels as though you have walked into a battlefield armed with nothing but your peace. And for that peace, you have become their target. You must understand something sacred when the hand of God rests upon you. It disturbs every shadow that lingers near. The light you carry exposes what others have tried to keep hidden. The moment you begin to live in truth, you shine a mirror into hearts that have not yet faced themselves. This is why their family, their circle, exploded in anger over you. You didn't attack them. Your presence revealed what they refused to confront. You became the test of their own sincerity. And though they speak against you now, their spirits are uneasy, because heaven is stirring something they cannot silence. Every word of gossip, every moment of rage, every cruel glance is not your burden. It is their conviction. You see, truth has a way of cornering deceit until it confesses. It presses upon the heart until the mask begins to crack. God does not need your defense. He is orchestrating theirs. The anger they show toward you is not a sign of your failure. It is the proof that something holy within you has touched a nerve. It is the evidence that your light has entered their hidden room. You may feel alone, misunderstood, and weary. You may be asking, why do they despise me when I've done nothing but love them? But remember, this love is the greatest disruptor of all. It exposes false affection, unmasks manipulation, and separates what is pure from what pretends to be. When divine love enters a space, it calls everything into account. Those who have lived comfortably in pretense will feel exposed. Those who have spoken lies as truth will suddenly struggle to keep their stories straight. That is not your doing. It is the power of God working through your integrity. The confession that is coming will not be forced by your hands, but by the weight of their own guilt. Heaven has ways of shaking souls until truth falls out. You will not have to argue. You will not have to defend. They will confess, because the same Spirit that anointed you has begun to trouble their peace. Their nights will grow restless. Their words will turn hollow. And in time, what was hidden in shadow will come into the light, not by your voice, but by divine justice itself. There is a holiness in silence. Let them speak. Let them rage. Let them twist the story. But do not descend into the chaos they've built. God is writing a narrative in which your calm will become their conviction. Every insult is being recorded, every lie remembered, not for revenge, but for revelation. The truth will not only clear your name, it will reveal hearts. You are not fighting people. You are witnessing exposure. And exposure, though painful, is mercy in disguise. They will confess, not because you demanded it, but because they cannot escape the truth that hovers over your name. They will remember the patience you showed, the kindness you gave when they did not deserve it. They will recall how you never matched their bitterness, how you never fought back with venom. That memory will haunt them until it humbles them. The Spirit of God will confront them through their own conscience, and confession will become their only release. So stand still. The fury you see is not the end. It is the breaking point before repentance. You were sent as a mirror, and mirrors never lie. The very ones who cursed you will one day testify that you were innocent. Their own words will turn into your vindication. What feels like rejection now is merely the echo of conviction working its way toward truth. In the end, peace will return, not because you fought for it, but because heaven never lost control. Their anger was the fire, your silence was the altar. And from that altar, God is about to speak through confession, revealing that your suffering was never in vain. When divine light enters a life, it does not simply brighten, it transforms, disrupts, and exposes. Many think of light as something gentle, comforting, and pure. But when that light is divine, it carries the power to uncover everything that hides in shadow. The moment the presence of God begins to dwell in you, the atmosphere around you changes. People sense something different, though they may not understand it. It is not your words, your actions, or your appearance that disturb them. It is the unseen radiance of heaven upon you. That radiance pierces through every layer of pretense, revealing motives, secrets, and wounds that others have tried to keep buried. Divine light is not always welcomed, because exposure is painful to those who have lived too long in the dark. There are souls who will be drawn to your light with gratitude, feeling hope and peace near you. But there will also be those who recoil, not because you have wronged them, but because the purity of what you carry unsettles their spirit. They may lash out, criticize, or turn cold, and you will wonder why kindness provokes hostility. It is because the light you bear has begun to challenge their comfort. Darkness cannot rest easily beside illumination. The closer you walk with truth, the more falsehood trembles. Every word of grace you speak sounds like confrontation to those who have built their peace upon illusion. And when that illusion starts to crack, anger becomes their defense. The divine light does not argue or prove itself. It simply shines, and by shining, it forces others to see what they would rather ignore. It brings to the surface hidden pride, envy, bitterness, and fear. Some people cannot face what they see in that reflection, so they blame you for showing it. Your presence becomes uncomfortable, not because of what you do, but because of what you represent. A life aligned with something higher than human approval. This is why divine favor often attracts opposition. You were never meant to blend in with those who cling to shadows. The light within you is a call to awakening. And awakening is never gentle for those who are still asleep. In moments when you feel misunderstood or rejected, remember that this is the cost of illumination. When truth walks into a room, lies scramble for cover. When peace stands firm, chaos feels exposed. You carry something eternal, and eternity always unsettles what is temporary. Your calm reveals their unrest. Your honesty unmasks their disguise. Your forgiveness disarms their anger. It is not personal, it is spiritual. You have become a living revelation, a quiet testimony that light still conquers darkness, and that truth still has authority over deception. Divine light is not selective. It shines everywhere it goes. It reaches corners others avoid. It enters hearts that resist, and it lingers until something changes. You cannot dim it to make others comfortable, because it was never given for comfort. It was given for transformation. Those who react with anger are not rejecting you. They are wrestling with the reflection of their own heart. When their bitterness rises, it is because the truth within them is stirring, demanding to be faced. What you see as hostility is often the early stage of conviction. God uses your presence, your words, even your silence, to begin that work in them. There will be times when you wish you could hide that light, make yourself smaller, quieter, less noticeable. But the divine does not hide its flame. It allows it to burn precisely where it's needed most. Your role is not to manage how others respond, but to remain faithful to what you carry. Even when their anger flares, even when their words cut deep, stay anchored in love. For love is the purest form of light, and love never retaliates. It reveals. As the light continues to move through you, it will draw a clear line between what is genuine and what is false. People's true natures are shown not in peace, but in proximity to holiness. When the divine shines through your life, it becomes a test of character for everyone around you. Some will humble themselves and grow, while others will harden and resist. Yet both responses serve a divine purpose, for the light exposes truth in every direction. It is not your task to extinguish their darkness or to explain your radiance. Simply continue walking in obedience, and let the presence of God speak louder than words. Every heart that reacts violently is a heart under conviction. Every outburst of anger is evidence that light has entered, where it was once absent. What feels like rejection is often the first sign of awakening. Divine light never leaves things as it finds them. It disrupts, it reveals, and it transforms, whether through comfort or through confrontation. Their anger is not proof of your guilt, it is proof of their conviction. When hearts are pierced by truth, they rarely bleed quietly. The reaction of others toward you often has little to do with your actions, and everything to do with what your presence awakens inside them. The divine presence within you unsettles what is false, disturbs what has been dormant, and reveals what is hidden beneath the surface. Those who live comfortably in illusion are not prepared for the mirror you carry. When they see you walking in integrity, when they hear your words shaped by sincerity and faith, something within them trembles. It is not hatred they feel, though it may sound like it. It is conviction wearing the mask of anger. You will notice that the loudest accusations often come from the most troubled hearts. The louder they shout, the deeper their unrest. Your peace becomes a contrast too sharp to ignore. They feel exposed without understanding why. They speak with hostility because silence would require them to hear the echo of their own conscience. You stand as a reminder of the truth they abandoned, of the humility they once knew but now resist. That reminder burns like fire, and instead of confessing their struggle, they project it outward. You become their target, because you are easier to confront than their own reflection. This is a sacred pattern in the way truth works. Light does not need to fight darkness, it simply exists, and darkness must respond. Some will be drawn toward the glow, seeking warmth and revelation, while others will shrink back, cursing the very light that exposes them. When divine truth passes through you, it reveals motives and intentions without a word being spoken. The human heart, unable to bear such clarity, reaches for excuses and blames the vessel through which conviction came. You are not the cause of their turmoil. You are the evidence that it has begun. It takes great spiritual maturity to understand that anger directed at you can be a form of confession. Though their lips deny it, their spirits have already admitted something is wrong. Their defensiveness is the soul's way of resisting surrender. You will see it in their eyes. The flicker of guilt, the hesitation in their tone, the forced confidence in their accusations. Deep down, they know that what they feel toward you is not justified. They know their discomfort is self-inflicted, yet pride will not allow them to yield. So they lash out, hoping noise can drown out the whisper of truth. But truth does not drown, it lingers, patient and unwavering. This is why your calm infuriates them even more. They expect you to retaliate, to break your composure, to fall to their level where shouting makes sense and chaos reigns. Yet you do not move. You remain still, and that stillness becomes unbearable to them. because while they scream to prove they are right, your silence quietly declares that you already know the truth. Nothing unnerves the guilty more than peace that cannot be shaken. They mistake your quietness for weakness, unaware that it is the very strength that exposes them further. There is a mysterious justice woven into this dynamic. God allows conviction to rise within them, not to destroy, but to redeem. Their anger is a symptom of the transformation they resist. The Spirit of truth is working beneath their rage, stirring their conscience, calling them to humility. It is often through anger that repentance begins its journey. Do not despise their hostility. See it as the evidence that something divine is happening. For if your presence carried no light, they would remain indifferent. It is only when the Spirit moves that darkness reacts. You may find yourself in the midst of confrontation, wondering why simple goodness provokes such storms. But what feels like attack is often the soul's struggle to remain asleep while being awakened. Your integrity, your forgiveness, your restraint, all of these things act as instruments of conviction. You are showing them a way of being that contradicts their habits, a peace that challenges their unrest. Each encounter with you leaves a mark on their spirit. They may not admit it, but your existence is a sermon they cannot unhear. In time, the anger will fade and give way to confession. What was once hostility will turn into humility. Their fury was never about you, it was about the truth you carried. Every sharp word, every accusation, every glare of resentment was the sign of a conscience struggling against surrender. When you recognize this, you will no longer take offense at their behavior. You will see beyond the noise and understand that their anger is not a weapon. It is a wound that only divine conviction can heal, and a wound that began to open the moment your light entered their darkness. Confession does not come through human persuasion. It is drawn out by divine pressure. When heaven decides that truth must surface, no argument, manipulation, or denial can hold it back. There is a spiritual gravity that pulls hidden things into the light, not through force of human will, but through the gentle persistence of the Spirit. When people wrong you and twist the truth, you may be tempted to fight for your name, to demand justice, to expose their lies yourself. But divine order does not rely on human defense. God's justice works silently, patiently, applying pressure to the conscience until even the hardest heart begins to tremble beneath its weight. You may not see the process, but it is happening. While you are silent, God is speaking to them in ways words could never reach. He will invade their thoughts in the quiet hours, visit their memories, disturb their sleep. What they buried will not stay buried, because divine truth does not allow secrets to rest. Their guilt will begin to whisper at first, soft enough to ignore, but it will grow louder as time passes. The mind can silence guilt for a while, but the soul cannot. Truth is a living thing. It breathes and moves, and when it is suppressed, it presses harder until confession becomes the only escape. You do not need to expose them, for heaven has already begun that work. Every lie carries within it a seed of collapse. The longer it stands, the more unstable it becomes under divine weight. The moment they spoke falsehood against you, heaven marked the words and began its slow and certain correction. God's timing is not yours. It may feel delayed, but it is deliberate. The confession that comes by divine means is not just an admission of guilt, it is transformation. It breaks pride, melts stubbornness, and restores humility. Human confrontation might win an argument, but divine pressure wins a soul. The Spirit knows how to touch places that no rebuke can reach. It speaks in conviction, not condemnation. It brings the mind face to face with what it has done, and the heart face, to face with who it has become. Those who lied against you will feel that confrontation within themselves. Their own conscience will become their courtroom, their own words their evidence, and their own guilt their sentence. You will not need to demand justice. Justice will rise on its own. The very weight of the truth they denied will become too heavy to bear, and confession will burst forth as release. When divine pressure begins, it often shows itself as unrest. They may grow irritable, anxious, even angry without reason. The peace they once had will vanish, replaced by a gnawing unease that follows them everywhere. It is the spirit of truth moving through the cracks of their defenses, whispering reminders, replaying moments, calling them to repentance. They will remember how they spoke against you, how they twisted your words, how they mocked your silence, and that memory will not leave them. No distraction will quiet it, no excuse will soothe it. God's hand will not let them go until they face what they have done. Your role in this process is not to intervene, but to remain still. If you rush in to correct them, you interrupt what heaven is doing. Divine conviction is delicate. It works in silence, away from human interference. Let them feel the full weight of what they've done without your help. Let God handle the dialogue between their guilt and His grace. The moment you stop trying to prove your innocence, heaven steps forward to prove it for you. What you could not make them see with words, the Spirit will make them feel in their own souls. Confession will not come easily for them. Pride will resist it, fear will delay it, but truth is patient. It will keep pressing until it finds a crack in the armor. One day, the pressure will become unbearable, and the same mouths that spoke lies will speak truth. The same hearts that hardened against you will soften under conviction. They will confess, not to please you, but because they can no longer carry the weight of pretending. That moment will not be the result of your strength, but of God's mercy. It will not come from confrontation, but from divine orchestration. Every soul that hides from truth eventually meets it again, but on heaven's terms. You are not forgotten in this process. God sees your restraint, your endurance, your decision to stay silent when you could have defended yourself. He honors it by turning the very pressure that once broke you into the pressure that breaks them. And when confession finally comes, it will come with tears, with clarity, with repentance shaped by the hands of divine justice. Endurance is not weakness. It is the highest proof of divine strength working in silence. When you choose to stand firm in patience, rather than retaliate, you become a living testimony that heaven defends its own. There is something sacred about a soul that continues to walk upright when surrounded by falsehood. The endurance of the righteous is not passive, it is a quiet form of warfare. Every moment you resist the urge to speak out of pain, every time you choose stillness over revenge, heaven takes note. God measures faith not by how loud you fight, but by how deeply you trust His unseen hand to vindicate you. It is in the waiting that your innocence becomes clear. People may misjudge you, speak against you, or twist your intentions, but endurance keeps you anchored in truth when perception turns against you. The world may not understand your restraint. They may call it surrender, but it is divine discipline. You are not surrendering to them. You are yielding to God's timing. For every false word spoken against you, there is an appointed moment when the truth will rise unshaken. You do not need to rush what heaven has already scheduled. Time, in the hands of God, is the most faithful witness of all. Endurance is the soul's declaration that it believes in something greater than human validation. It is choosing peace while being misunderstood. It is walking through fire without losing your composure. It is continuing to love when love is not returned. This kind of strength cannot be learned through comfort. It is forged in seasons of accusation, silence, and patience. The world celebrates immediate victory, but heaven celebrates endurance, for endurance carries the mark of eternal character. It shows that your faith is not rooted in applause, but in purpose. When others mock your calm or mistake your silence for defeat, remember that you are being tested for something higher. Endurance refines you. It strips away pride, sharpens humility, and builds unshakable trust. Every attack becomes an opportunity to prove that your peace does not depend on circumstances. God allows these moments not to break you, but to reveal what cannot be broken. The same trials meant to ruin your reputation become the proving ground for your spiritual authority. Those who endure in truth become vessels of divine credibility. When God vindicates such a soul, the testimony carries eternal weight. There is a quiet rhythm to divine justice. It rarely rushes. It observes, allows, measures, and then moves. And while you wait, heaven is working. Every tear you shed in secret, every word you swallow instead of retaliating, every night you spend praying instead of plotting, all of it is recorded. You are not forgotten in your endurance. You are being prepared for revelation. When God moves, it will not merely restore your image, it will redefine your story. Those who doubted your character will see that endurance was not silence born of weakness, but of spiritual wisdom. The vindication of the patient is always louder than the defense of the proud. Endurance is also the seed of peace. It allows you to remain grounded while storms rage. It teaches you to breathe while waiting for heaven's timing. When others are consumed by chaos, your calm becomes a message louder than any sermon. People watch how you respond under pressure, and though they may not admit it, your stability convicts them. It shows them what faith looks like when it is stripped of comfort. It is in those quiet, unwavering moments that heaven's light shines brightest. There will come a time when the very ones who opposed you will remember your endurance. They will see that you did not curse them, that you did not repay evil with evil, and that you held your peace even when you had every reason to break it. That memory will echo in their conscience long after their words have faded. Your endurance will become their mirror, reflecting both their actions and your restraint. Through that reflection, conviction will be born. Heaven uses the endurance of the righteous as both shield and sword. It protects you while piercing the hearts of those who wronged you. This is why you must not give up in the middle of the trial. The pressure you feel is not a sign of abandonment, it is the weight of transformation. The longer you endure, the stronger your spirit becomes. God is shaping something eternal within you, something that cannot be shaken by rumor or destroyed by injustice. Endurance builds an inner foundation that human opinion cannot touch. When vindication finally comes, it will not be fragile or fleeting. It will carry the authority of heaven itself. Your endurance will stand as the undeniable evidence that truth never needed haste, that innocence never needed to shout, and that divine justice never fails those who wait with faith.